making this video again, actually, because I made it yesterday, but over the night there were some developments. And this is in regard to my recent cold detox. So I got this cold, started coming on like just after Christmas time. Before I had like some sneezing, a little runny nose. I didn't really think too much of it, but then I got a sore throat. I felt like, crap. A lot of mucus and not too much coughing, a lot of sneezing, like I said, a lot of mucus, and a headache, lethargy. Overall, it wasn't really too bad. Things I did was pretty much follow the recommendations Ogenus lays out for colds and flus. Now, I knew I had a cold because it was pretty much isolated to my throat and head area. Usually, if you have a flu, in my opinion, in my experience, that's more of a full body thing. You'll have this like restlessness or gross feeling or aches and pains throughout your whole body. In addition to those symptoms such as like a head cold, and it may be more coughing as well. And, I just didn't really have too much of that. And so I knew I was having a cold, so I stopped vegetable juice. Unfortunately, the onset of this cold, I had limited milk because we got this really bad snowstorm and the roads were totally messed up. So I was short on milk. I couldn't make it out to get milk, but I was lucky to get some milk Monday, and I got 2 gallons. I've been drinking like at least almost probably a half gallon every day. And I'd make a milkshake. I'd eat some butter, not too much though, a couple tablespoons. A lot of eggs. Like I said, no vegetable juice. I was drinking some water as well. It kind of helps clear the throat and, cleans you a little bit. And since I didn't have milk, I resorted to sweating in a sleeping bag. Basically, I took a sleeping bag, and then I got 3 hot water bottles. They came with a fleece cover, so I had that on it. And then, the way I make a water bottle is I fill it up with the hottest tap water you can, and then I let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and get warm. And then I put in fresh hot water again. This ensures that they stay hotter longer by at least an hour. And I had a t-shirt on, I had a long sleeve shirt on, I put the hot water bottles over that, and then I put on a pullover over all of that to keep the hot water bottles in. And I had, pajama pants on, socks, and then I got in the sleeping bag, and I sweat a lot. Mostly in the upper body area, just have 3 water bottles. But I still did get a whole body sweat, like my face was sweating. And I noticed sweating outside of a bath is more uncomfortable because my sweat was stinging me, actually, and making me itch, particularly in my head area, like my eyes, my lower lip, and my neck, specifically. Yeah, I didn't measure my body temperature, but I got to be at least 100 degrees, I would say. And, I probably stayed in there for about 2 hours. And I did that for 3 days in a row, and each day I did it, I felt better. So if you run into a situation where you don't have milk or you can't get milk and you need to sweat, that's a very good alternative. Certainly the hot baths are better, but it's just a matter of what I had to deal with at the time. So, I got my milk, drinking lots of milk, eating lots of eggs, doing a milkshake every day, no vegetable juice. So, yeah, I was feeling kind of better. And then last night, I decided to do my first meat meal. So I had this cold for about 4 or 5 days. And I ate probably, like a quarter pound of some cod. Nothing too crazy. And with an egg, I mixed in pate, ate some butter with it, some eggs, and then I had about half a cup of milk with that as well. Ate more eggs, drank a milkshake, drank some more milk. After that, throughout the evening, went to bed. I woke up and I had a sore throat. My sore throat came back, and I was like, oh, I got something in my throat. And I went and I got the flashlight and I looked. And I had this huge tonsil stone. I could see it in the back of my mouth, kind of the ones I was spitting out in the summer when I took those moldy berries. And I mean, it was probably even bigger than that from what I could see. And, they just get lodged in there, and I was coughing and moving my throat around and my tongue and trying to get it out. It wasn't coming out. Eventually it came out, but I didn't see it. I wasn't able to document this, unfortunately. So I swallowed it. So what I do in that situation, or rather, preemptively, I ate cheese. And, drank some milk after I swallowed it. I was trying to gargle it out, but then I saw it wasn't there. So the cheese helped because I went to lay back down, and this isn't over yet. I went to lay back down, and I noticed I just started getting some indigestion. I was like, oh, that's probably the tonsil stone. And it started. It didn't get too bad, and then it went away. So I think the cheese took care of that, thankfully. And the next thing that was pretty weird, I don't know if this is because with my issue, I have a restricted airway. An average adult airway should be about 11 millimeters in size. Mine's 7 millimeters. Not great. And I noticed that I was having trouble breathing, and I taped my mouth shut. Not really a problem. I breathe through my nose just fine. But I noticed the way I was laying was restricting my breathing because I noticed my uvula, or whatever it's called, that dangly thing in the back of your throat. I think that's what it's called, an uvula. It was inflamed. It was like twice the size. And I think my throat was irritated from trying to cough up that tonsil stone. And I was like suffocating when I was exhaling. Like I would exhale and I couldn't breathe out. And it prevented me from getting to sleep again for like an hour. And I was like, okay, so what do I do? So I was laying on my left side, and I think my left tonsil was also inflamed. So I couldn't lay on my left side. I tried to lay on my back. Didn't really help. And I switched to my right side, and finally that worked. I got to sleep. I woke up. I checked my uvula again. It was not inflamed any longer. My throat looked okay. I didn't have any more tonsil stones. So yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that, all that stuff finally came to a head. After I ate the meat meal, I wonder if that's what caused it, or facilitated it. But, yeah, I feel like back to normal today pretty much. Well, at the end of the day, I feel back to normal. I didn't feel great earlier today, but now I'm feeling pretty great. And, I'm glad whatever it was is like out of my body now. For the most part, I don't know how much hopefully not too much was reabsorbed, that way, from swallowing the tonsil stone. I ate the cheese. I ate a pretty big chunk of cheese, so I think I should be okay. But that's what I did for this cold. If you have a cold, I think it's just cold season time. Like, I don't know if it's the air or the time of year or something else in the whatever that sets off this cold detox flu stuff in people. A lot of people, they're around other people at the holidays like I was. So a lot of people say, oh, you got me sick, or oh, I got you sick, I'm sorry. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Like if people are detoxing and you're around them and your body sees that as a signal to detox, or like I said, there's something else in the environment that would cause people to go into detox mode. But I also think the body knows when it is able to have a break and it will start to detox itself. And when the body needs to go into work mode and survive and do things, because I've noticed like there's times I haven't been feeling well, but I've still been able to get up and do the things I need to do, go to work and such, and it's not a problem. And then when I get home, I kind of feel like crap. It just kind of takes healing a little bit longer, but I think the body's pretty resilient in that way and intelligent that it knows when can and can't detox. A lot of people, they have the end of the year vacation time they have to use up. They're on breaks from school, stuff like that. So, I think that's a big cause for that too. Like right now, I had the week off, fortunately, and I think my body just kind of knew it's time. It has time. So food for thought, and I hope if you have a cold or flu, definitely check out the cold and flu recommendations in the book We Want to Live. That's pretty much all I did, and sweating in a sleeping bag instead of hot baths. Still effective, but not as good as the bath. So if you have the luxury to take a bath, you have the milk, you have the bathtub, definitely take a bath. every day. It will speed up your healing greatly. Take care.